Learning how to interview for a job could arguably be the most beneficial thing, the best skill you could have in life in general. Because whether you're self-employed or whether you're looking to work for an employer, your ability to get a yes when you go for an interview, when you go for a pitch, is the difference between you, money, success, opportunity, and choices. So today I want to break it down. We're going to break it down into how you prepare, what you do on the day of the interview, and how you perform on the interview. I'm going to talk about managing nerves. I'm going to talk about how to do it on camera because that's the reality of a pandemic labor market. So let's dive into the video. Too often, preparing for an interview is sort of like falling headlong into a swimming pool or something like that. Like, oh my goodness, I don't know where I'm headed and I'm not feeling very comfortable, and it's not a well-balanced experience. The first key to being successful in a job interview is not feeling out of control, not feeling like you're falling, but rather being prepared. And no matter how many times people like myself tell you to do your research, often job candidates, because they're nervous, it's kind of like a self-sabotage thing. You go in unprepared. Don't do it. We're not going to do that. What I'd like to do is help structure your preparation so that it's manageable and it's efficient. And the way I'd like to do that is to tell you that there are 4 stages to an interview. Always 4 stages to the interview. And if you know which one you're in and what your job is in that stage, you're going to do an amazing job as a job candidate. If you're just sort of a deer in headlights wondering what's going to happen next, chances are you're not going to do so well. So let me review the 4 stages of the interview. This is golden information here. The first stage of the interview is breaking the ice. It's the first impression. It's the smile when the camera's on. It's the way you look. It's whether or not the lighting is right. In this pandemic labor market, there might be face-to-face interviews in a couple of different situations. And that's where, and these days it's no longer a handshake. So it's all going to be about smile, poise, energy, whether you're on camera or whether you're in person. And you may have heard that most interviewers make their mind up in the first 10 to 15 seconds. Also true in an entrepreneurial pitch, by the way. Either way, when you show up, you have to make a first impression that's a good one and a strong one. So that's called breaking the ice. And yes, you do prepare for it. Just turn your camera on when you're not being interviewed and take a look at the surroundings. Are you making a good first impression? Do you have your laptop angled so that they're looking up your nose? Not a good idea. So take everything into consideration when you're not under pressure. If you don't know how to conduct a Zoom call or a Microsoft Team call or a Skype call, there's lots of YouTube videos on that. Get that skill so that you're not nervous. That's all part of breaking the ice. The second stage of the interview is called the general sharing of information. The general sharing of information. And at this point, the interviewer will take control. They'll say something like, well, thank you very much for coming in today. We really appreciate your time for the position of blah, 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 blah. And they have a statement that they're pretty much delivering to every candidate, and they're going to deliver it to you. And in that moment, I kind of want you to take a little bit of a deep breath. I want you to lean back just a little bit in your chair. I want you to ground yourself and calm down. If you are a little on edge, this is a really good place to know that you're going to get a chance to gather yourself. It's really pretty cool. And at the end of their opening statement, they're going to turn around and ask you for yours. They will, every time. And often it's phrased, tell me a little bit about yourself. And many candidates just absolutely freeze in that moment. And for all of those people that have had that experience, including you, I'm so sorry. But from this moment forward, that's not going to happen to you, because you're going to prepare your opening statement. And your opening statement is a little bit like a video tease. It has to be engaging, relevant, and tight. Again, this is something that you practice. It talks about your qualifications. It talks about the position and how those things match together. It is not your life history. A lot of candidates will, well, I entered the field 20 years ago and my first position was this and then that. Please, we're not going to do that, all right? And in future videos, I'm highly likely to break down a video just on opening statements. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to make sure that you do a great job if I just have you practice something relevant. Don't be surprised when they turn the attention of the interview to you after they make their opening statement. And you look at the camera and smile and deliver that opening statement with really compelling. And in that moment, if they didn't love that first impression or it wasn't complete, this will complete it. Those two pieces together, you're already way, way ahead of your competition. The third stage of the interview is called the patterned questions. And you absolutely do prepare for this, and how you go about that is a very specialized kind of research. I want you to look at the job description, look at the company website, look at the proposal, look at the contract, whatever it is that gives you information about this thing that you want to be successful on. And when you're looking through that material, I want you to be looking for the 10 things they want the most. I like to call them the 10 key competencies. The 10 things, the 10 pieces of knowledge, the 10 skills, the 10 areas of qualification, the 10 knowledge pieces, whatever it looks like. What is your point of difference? The 10 things that are going to make you absolutely the perfect candidate for this particular position, contract, piece of venture capital money, whatever it is that you're trying to get, right? So you come up with the 10 key competencies. And then I want you to prepare 10 stories. Yeah, 10 stories. It's not anything beyond your capacity. And each story has a construction. It's called problem, action, result. PAR, problem, action, result. So let's imagine that one of the 10 key competencies is a people skill. It has to do with your ability to perform under pressure. I don't know. You need to think of a life, an experience, the most compelling experience that is as close to what the employer is looking for, and you describe the problem. For example, for me years ago when I worked in a college setting, I was responsible for running the career fair every year, and about 100 employers would all show up on campus between 8 and 8:15 in the morning, and I was supposed to calmly, coolly get them all to their tables, greet them, make sure they got donuts, their umbrella, and they felt like they were the only person on campus. And I did that. And how did I do that? Well, that was because I had prepared my team. I didn't do it alone, and I had structured the process, and we gave the employers a lot of advance information, and just multiple things that allowed me to do that. And as a result, our career fair was sought after by employers. They loved coming to our campus because of the way we treated them, because it was unique, and because we were so organized. Now, problem, action, result. And what's compelling about that kind of answer, first of all, people remember stories. It goes into the brain. It goes into the part of the brain that makes decisions. Everything that I'm giving you is based on research that's been done that causes people to want to hire you. And when you tell a compelling story like the one I just told, you are confident that you could put me in a under pressure situation and I would perform well because I proved it. I didn't just say, trust me, I love working under pressure. I work under pressure all the time. What we don't want is trust me answers. We want competency-based, achievement-focused stories that have a clear problem, action, and result. And I want you to put together 10 of those. And when you do that, you're going to find, since you're probably working in a vertical market of some sort, an industry and field that's consistent, you're going to be able to use your stories over and over again. This is not going to be every interview or every pitch you make, you start all over again. No. You're going to have those stories. Now, beyond those stories, what about other kinds of questions, Helen? What about stressful questions? What about questions about your weaknesses? You do need to prepare for some of those. The key there, again, is to deliver a performance-based answer. If you want to, if they say, well, tell us about your biggest mistake you've ever made and how you handled it, it's really just another story. In fact, you may have or want to prepare a couple of stress-based stories just in case they ask you about your weakness or they ask you about something that didn't go particularly well. The patterned questions will be similar or the same for all the candidates. So I want to motivate you to really practice these stories. Practice them in front of a camera. Practice looking at the camera. Practice smiling at the camera. Practice thinking about the fact that there are real human beings on the other side of that camera who really hope you're the candidate. They want you to succeed. And as you begin to deliver this material that you've prepared, you're going to be meeting that desire. The fourth and final stage of the interview is the close. And just like the opening, you're going to have a closing statement and you're going to have it prepared. To some extent, a really good closing statement manages to capture the high points of the interview. And so we might want to go back to say, it's so exciting that I have such deep knowledge in XYZ, since that's something you're really looking for. My passion for XYZ fits really well with your vision for your organization, your company, your project, whatever it is that we're talking about. So I show how much composure I have by being able to point out some of the really strong aspects of the interview that we just had. And then I end my closing statement by asking for the job. If you ask for the job, you increase by 10% the likelihood that they're going to offer it to you. Just that one little step. And if you add all the other steps I've just offered you, you're going to experience what it feels like to have multiple job offers. Asking for the job is not arrogant. It's just simply saying, this is such an amazing opportunity and I would be so honored if you selected me to do this job. Yeah, it's nice. It's not pushy. And then there's a couple of other little pieces that you want to anticipate. One is you want to be sure that you're prepared to ask them about their decision-making process. How long is it going to take? When should you expect to hear something from them? And you should also make sure that you have all the information that you need to follow up. So if there's multiple people who are interviewing you, if you could just ask them real quickly, you can look on the screen and see the spelling of their names, and you might ask them for a recording of the interview or just look at the participant list. These are some things you'll learn how to do as you get more comfortable with online platforms for interviews and videos. And then you, if they hopefully have given you an email address of some sort, or there's a physical address, either way, you can write a compelling follow-up. Notice I didn't say thank you note. No, If you want to do a great follow-up, it's a little bit like a mini business plan for them. You take a look at what it is that they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to hire, what they're trying to solve, and you know, in not too many paragraphs, you just say, my vision for this position is, my strategic actions upon the first 6 months would be, and I certainly look forward to working with you, because of course you're going to get an offer. Yeah, a compelling follow-up, not a thank you note. Yeah, you can say thank you, but you're going to say more than thank you. Now, all of that was still in preparation. Okay, we haven't gotten to performance yet. Let's talk a little tiny bit more about preparation. Knowing where you're going, if you're going to have to go physically, but chances are you're not. You're going to do it in your home. And I want you, again, to be competent with the technology that you're going to be using. And there's no excuses. If it doesn't go well, if it was out of your control, hey, life happens. But you want to prepare your technology, your camera, your laptop, your office, your lighting, your clothing, your appearance. I want it to be all very sharp. You know, how do your colors look? Just kind of pay attention to all those details. And the night before your interview, I'd like you to get some sleep. And if you don't get sleep, that's okay. You're going to be a little nervous. Just do your best. Now, on the day of the interview, I'd like you to eat a nutritious breakfast. If it's morning or lunch or dinner, whatever it is, please have some fuel for your performance, some water. You want to be hydrated, not too hydrated, not that you have to go to the bathroom right in the middle of the interview. And expect some nervousness. I actually want you to be a little nervous. A little nervous too. Bring you some juice. And if your energy level, if you're not like a performer, you don't do this naturally, and now you have to stare at a camera or stare at a computer screen and deliver a job interview, it's adding another layer of anxiety and difficulty. And I have a lot of compassion for your situation. And I know you can do it. With practice and with preparation, you definitely can be really effective. And in some ways, maybe even calmer, because you don't have to deal with traffic, parking, directions, all kinds of other things. Also, on the day of the interview, I want you to possibly visualize the interview. Run it through your mind. If you have time, run it through your mind, and every time you get a little bit nervous, just relax yourself, because your mind really doesn't know the difference. And if you practice mentally before you interview and you see yourself doing well and you see yourself being really effective, you will be effective. And then one other little tip, a day of the interview tip, and this is how most performers overcome their anxiety, and that is to focus on your performance, not you. What is the purpose? What is your why? What do you care about, and what should they care about? Think about how much value you're going to bring to the organization if they hire you. Think about maybe even how much you're going to step up for your own family if you get this job opportunity. But I don't want you thinking, oh, I'm not very good at this. I'm not sure how well I'm going to do. I have so much pressure. I've gone through so many interviews, haven't gone well. I. That whole I trail is going to flip you out. But if you think more about the quality of the delivery that you want to make and the contribution that you're going to make to your life and to the lives of others, it's likely that you will calm down enough to be able to deliver an effective performance. When you are in the interview, one of the most important tips I can give you is I want you to treat it like a meeting. Treat it like a meeting. Treat it like a consultation. You are an expert in whatever it is that you do. And I want you to come to the meeting, come to the interview with the self-confidence that you have something to offer. And if you do that, you're likely to be interacting during the interview in a more authentic way, spontaneously asking questions, maybe showing some enthusiasm, maybe even offering some advice, resources, or tips like you would in a regular meeting. I want you to balance the energy. I don't want it to be the interviewer is the power and you are vulnerable or weak or have to prove yourself. No, they're lucky to have this conversation with you. That's the way out, but not arrogant. Stay grounded, stay authentic, tell your stories, be compelling, and let them know, like I said, let them know at the end when you're delivering your closing statement that you want the job, that you'd be delighted to work for them. And hey, by the way, if in the end this isn't the job you take, but you said you wanted it, that's okay. You get to pick. You want to generate a range of job offers, a range of opportunities, so that you feel a bounty of options, not that you have to take the only one where you get the offer. So again, I want to just try to compel you to work really hard at getting good at job interviews, because job interviews lead to increased salary, increased opportunity, challenges, growth in your career, choices, flexibility, just an incredible payoff. And as you often hear me say, your career pays for everything else in your life, so it's really, really smart to get good at this skill. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. If you're new to this channel, I want you to see every video. We drop a video every Monday. And hey, throw some comments down there for us, because that's going to help other people get access to this information. Thanks. Bye-bye.